and welcome in once again. We're still into this social distancing thing, of course, because of the pandemic. But our first guest today, Tulsa County Commissioner Karen Keith. Commissioner, good to have you with us.
It's so nice to be with you, although I wish we were in the same studio together so I could get my big Sam hug.
Yeah, now it'll be like from a distance for the next year and a half.
Yeah.
How are you?
Great. I'm doing great. I'm at the courthouse.
I want to say something before we get into this. I've watched with great interest how you've handled the various news conferences, how you've handled yourself publicly as a politician and as a person. And I got to say, you're doing an excellent job. You know, I believe, and I think you do too, I think I know you well enough to say that you do, in the old axiom, tell them the truth and they'll be able to handle it.
Oh, absolutely.
Am I reading that right?
You are getting that just right. You hit that right, the nail on the head.
We don't look good in terms of numbers as far as the virus is concerned. We're taping this on Wednesday, the 27th, and we have passed the 100,000 mark in terms of deaths in this country. Worldwide, we've got over 300,000, which means the United States is easily over a third of the deaths worldwide. How are we faring in Tulsa County?
Well, I give a lot of credit to our mayor, G.T. Bynum, and Bruce Dart, City County Health Department, for putting measures in place early. And I think we're in decent shape. We have upped our testing. Now that means you're going to see more cases recorded, but our death count is not really going up, and the number of people in the hospitals is not going up. I do think as more people come out, we're going to see some of those numbers go up, and I think that's to be expected. But as long as we don't overwhelm our hospitals, I think we're doing a really good job. And of course, summer's here. And of course, we are all hoping that this virus acts like most viruses, and the summer is its waning time. But I think we're in pretty good shape.
I think the world is holding its collective breath, if you will, over the news that they're very close, or at least they think they're very close to a vaccine.
Yes.
Which would be a major help to everyone concerned. I still wear a mask everywhere I go.
Yes, I do too.
You're in support of that, aren't you?
Yeah, and I mean, I can't say this enough to folks, but wear your mask when you're out in public anywhere, especially the grocery stores. But if you go anywhere where there's people, strangers, you're around strangers, wear your mask. Now, if you're walking in the neighborhood, don't worry about it. Just keep your distance from folks. But if you're going into any big retail shop or, any big place like that, wear your mask and have some fun with it. I'll tell you, our sheriff, you can look on Facebook and see Sheriff Regalado, but he had some fun with a mask, but he's wearing his mask when he comes in the courthouse. It's mandatory that everyone have a mask when they come in the courthouse, which is really important to keep each other safe.
Sure.
And I've seen these posts from people, and they're like, well, I don't really need to wear a mask because I'm not worried. But you should be worried about the people next to you. Wearing the mask means I care about Sam Jones as an individual. So wear your mask because you're protecting your grandmother, your aunt, your relatives. That you want everybody else to respect that as well.
We've acknowledged the virus and the pandemic. I want to move to something that we've been dealing with here for years, and that's the condition of the levees. Mm-hmm. Now, I know you're a champion of let's get them fixed. And I talked with the Corps of Engineers on this show about a week or two ago, and the young man that spoke with me really gave a detailed explanation of how the flow from the Corps of Engineers is regulated through the dam down the river.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, listen, when we got hit with that last flooding problem, though, it was Katie barred the door, and levees took a beating. Where are we on shoring those things up?
Well, I will tell you, Sam, we were kind of holding our breath. We had one of our wettest winters on record, and the levees are in bad shape. They still need repairs from the damage that was done a year ago this same time. So we were very concerned. We are much more confident now. We think we've gotten through the worst part of it. The water has not been so heavily in the watershed, which the Corps, I mean, they have an incredible job to do because they have to manage all these watersheds that lead into all of the rivers, and then the rivers into the lakes and the flow through the dams. And I mean, it's a not an easy job, but the Mother Nature had her say last year. And poor Muskogee, where I'm from, they've got the three rivers that converge there, and Weber's Falls went under. I mean, it was just devastating. So yes, the levees took a beating. And we are closer to getting some of the work done to fix those levees now, and which I'll be grateful for. Make them a little more resilient till we get the real fix done in the next 3 to 5 years.
I have heard from Senator Jim Inhofe on a couple of occasions, and I'm sure the public has as well, and he's wanting something done. Does that mean we can expect some federal dollars?
Oh yes, we can't do it without the federal dollars. We can't. They're going to pay 65% of it, and then our local match will be able to pay back over 30 years. At least that's the model that we're working towards. They've got a couple of pots of money. One of them is WRDA, the Water Resource Development Authority, or there's another pot of money that would allow us to begin the work sooner. But I can tell you that Senator Inhofe has been working very hard on this, as well as Senator Langford and then Congressman Hearn. So they have all walked this levee. They know the issues. And then the Corps, I mean, General Semonite flew down here. He was here a month or so before we had the actual incident last year. And then during the high water event, he flew back here to put his eyes on that issue. And it was General Semonite who signed the chief's letter, which is basically a fancy word for our feasibility study, that then kind of pushed it up the ladder to help us get the funding. So the Corps is well aware of how fragile this is. Potential loss of lives, the potential loss certainly of business and everything else along that corridor that the levee protects. So we've got a really good team working on this. And Sam, they completed our feasibility study in record time, period. After the flooding event, I mean, you could tell it was all hands on deck. And they did a remarkable job. And then to get the chief's report officially signed in Washington, D.C., it was a big deal. Nothing like that's happened in 40 years.
I had no idea, and I don't think the general public was aware of how much the Corps of Engineers has to hop around anytime there's a rain event such as we went through, and a wet winter like we just came from.
Well, and it's really not just weather, Sam. The Corps they were called in to do the work at OSU Medical Center to build out 2 floors so that if we needed more COVID beds, then we would have them. Mm-hmm. So anytime there's a national natural disaster, they're called in. I mean, all their resources get diverted and they go do this work. So we want to just keep our project on track, and our federal delegation is really helping with that effort.
How's the dam? Do you have any idea?
Yeah, dam is in really good shape. We have a gentleman that works for the Tulsa Corps office who's one of the best experts in the world on dams. In fact, he's been all over the world working on different projects. So we're lucky to have him here. And he's like, Karen, our dam is just fine. Okay, thank you, Wade. So, I got to tour the dam last year with Senator Langford and Derek Osborne, his chief down here in Tulsa. And it was really fascinating, and during the high water event. So it was something to see it at that time.
It's interesting to me to note how very slowly we're starting to see businesses put their toe in the reopening waters, if you will, in and around Tulsa County. Mm-hmm. And I'm not at all certain that there will be a second wave between now and midsummer. But I'm pretty well convinced, because of the scientists and the experts behind the studies, that there will be another wave. But I got to tell you, something you said early on in our little discussion here about the mayor of Tulsa, I think we've got a winner there. The way
Yes.
this guy has gone to the public and said, look, we got to do this and we need to do that, and here's the truth of the matter. And he doesn't mince words.
No, he does not. And Mayor Holt in Oklahoma City, kudos to him as well. And the two of them really worked well together to try to keep the two largest communities in the state of Oklahoma in sync on this. So I think they have done a marvelous job and have kept our numbers, a lot less than they could have been.
We got about a minute and a half left, Commissioner. I heard Governor Cuomo of New York talking this morning, and again, we're taping this on Wednesday the 27th, but he was talking this morning about his meeting with the president and the fact that politics in this discussion went on the back burner, because he said, after all, we are the United States. Mm-hmm. And the idea here is we pull as a united country. I'm beginning to see that more and more among politicians statewide and countywide and citywide. And it's an interesting feeling. Do you see it as well?
Well, I will tell you, in working with our federal delegation and as a county commissioner, it is a nonpartisan job. There's nothing partisan about a pothole. And I think being a mayor of a city is the same way. Our issues are not partisan issues. So, I know these folks that work in DC, and I can call them and they help.
We're out of time. Thank you. And thank you for being so open with us. We appreciate it more than you'll ever know.
Sam, it's so good to see you. Please take care. Be safe. And to the public, wear your masks. Have fun with it.
All right, kiddo. Bye-bye.
Okay. See ya.
We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we got a student. You're not going to believe what this young man's done. More after this.